be joined by Andy Knox. I wanted to get Andy's perspective. How do you communicate with clients in this new environment post-coronavirus? Andy?
What I do think is the stage is really set for really good advisors to step up and start to really take a more proactive approach to advising their clients. And that means getting into this kind of solution mindset. So it's not just about dealing with the here and now of specific situations, although that is clearly an urgent priority. It is about fundamentally understanding what is going on across client businesses and solving for those problems, anticipating those problems. In many ways, that's what the consultants have done for years in a way which a lot of some of the professional services firms have been much more reactive and just effectively waited for in-house counsel to feed them transactions or deals. Now is very much a time to really understand clients' businesses. And I think marketing and business development departments have a lot of value to add in basically tracking the most important, most valuable clients in the practices of professional services firms and helping practitioners understand what is really going on with them, where they can add value.
What sort of issues should they be still focusing on? Because obviously a big focus on COVID right now. What do you think the kind of challenges that clients will want guidance on?
I think we are likely to see, as we did post 08, 09, a kind of shift across of skill sets or kind of retooling of practitioners around things like, restructuring, insolvency, all of that stuff, possibly a pickup in contentious, which could play out for years. But I think CEOs, as much as wanting to deal with the here and now of COVID, are very mindful of being prepared to take advantage in the recovery. And no one knows when that's going to come, and no one knows whether that's going to be, it doesn't look like it's going to be a V-shape. The CEO of Morgan Stanley came out yesterday and said he thinks it's a U, and so much longer term, recessionary phase. The epidemiologists are pointing towards a W, or at least they hope it's a W. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty, but I think there's quite a lot of kind of smart retooling around because business necessity is forcing it. In other words, if your cash flow is completely falling off a cliff from certain areas, very quickly you're finding ways to try to be relevant to your own clients, because frankly, if you don't, it's a bit, that's part of your survival.
Brilliant. And so what sort of practical steps that partners or BD staff can do to really understand their client issues?
Yeah, so I think for me it's all about getting beyond the specifics of individual bilateral conversations. I mean, particularly partners in law firms have got these incredibly strong bilateral relationships built off, doing transactions late at night, or, being really there for their clients in crisis, in times of crisis. That's really important. But there is, we live in a world where there is more disclosure than ever on a day-by-day basis from clients as to what they're doing, what they're seeing. Obviously, there's an awful lot of firms with large client bases, most of which are listed. There is a constant disclosure obligation through them. There's constant sell-side analysis on what's going on. And, without losing focus on the specifics of what law firms might be asked to do, I think a strong watching brief on what is actually going on in the world of the clients is extremely important. And I think there's a real opportunity for advisors to add value by bringing a relative perspective to bear. There's an incredibly powerful and important thing which advisors have. Director, if you're someone in a strategy team working in a business, you can often become quite myopic and only see what's in the business. So advisors can add a lot of value by broadening out that perspective.
So it's kind of hoovering up often public domain information on what's going on in the sector giving comparisons across the sector and how they're responding to some of these key challenges and feeding that back to your clients.
That's right. I mean, look, ultimately we don't live in just an absolute world. We live in a relative world, and everyone who's in a position to advise and negotiate wants to have some sense of where they fit within the wider circle. And obviously, when you start to get into negotiations with people, a lot of that hand-to-hand combat is around, well, where's market? I mean, advisors, lawyers, accountants, consultants, etc., can be can add a lot of value by giving a credible view of where's market, essentially. I think it would be a good thing if one of the things that COVID brings about is just junking the 4 or 5 page white paper style from a lot of law firms where a partner gets to grandstand on their favorite topic in detail. I mean, that we just do not have time for that. That's not the way people consume information.